Something that a lot of people weren't on the same page over the weekend. You know, we've talked many times on the show about AEW.
Oh, I saw this.
So,
Wow, there are so many different things you would have just said there.
but AEW is the thing. We've talked about this many times on the air, and so here's
Real quick.
Yeah.
Every time you say it, my head goes to A&W.
AEW.
I
know.
did the first. Yep.
Same thing,
You
right?
know,
I
you know
was
what
like,
it's for?
I had
Maybe this will help
AEW
you.
last
All
night.
Elite Wrestling.
All Elite, yeah.
You told me that.
But
Which is too hard to say. All Elite.
yeah, so they didn't have a big pay-per-view last night, but it was free, and they were, as they're getting closer and closer to the TV presentation that takes place in November. You know, when they're going to be on Turner.
Oh.
Where was it last night?
I don't remember exactly.
Did you catch it at all?
I didn't
or
catch
no?
it, so I saw the clips.
Do they just have a website streaming now? Or?
I think that's what it is, but I mean, Satin will probably be able to tell you better about it. But and a lot of this coverage is all over the Pro Wrestling Sheet, so make sure you check that out. He had a lot of coverage on it. But so in the Attitude Era, which was when you knew what was going on with Stone, Stone Cold, and during that time and during the ECW, unprotected headshots from chairs was happening all the time. It was happening often. Like The Rock was getting hit in the head with
you
chairs.
showed me that video
Of The Rock hitting
Mick
Foley in the head many times. And that was during that time. And it happened over and over again. One of the main things after the whole Chris Benoit thing happened, you know, which they said concussions and head damage. Besides of him just getting hit with heads with chair, he was flying off of the rope and banging his head into the floor all the time too.
But similar to football, they were finding that concussions were causing.
Yep,
behavior.
absolutely. So the WWE banned it completely, right? And it's been banned. So last night on AEW, Cody Rhodes.
So you can't hit chairs anymore in WWE?
In the head.
No, yeah.
In the back, you can. Similar to what we did with Andrew Guy and Bateman.
I thought that was real.
It was.
It was.
So but anyway, so last night, Cody Rhodes, who runs this whole thing, him and Tony Khan, right, gets hit in the head, unprotected headshot, and gets a lot of slack from it. Now, here's the positives of it.
Slack from
Flack. By the way.
Not Slack. Sorry, Flack.
Slack is an app.
Correct.
flack from
Flack
fans.
from
Release, get
fans,
some slack.
critics, from media, everyone. Right. It was just trending last night as far as like unprotected chair shots in 2019. Like wow, like that type of thing. The positives. People are talking about AEW more so than they were already. Another positive is that it's Cody Rhodes who runs
It's his own company.
It's his
not
company.
like he was forcing somebody else to take a headshot. Yeah.
Correct. He didn't ask anyone else to do it. He didn't force anybody else into do it. He did it on his own. Now,
Are we allowed to show that video? Because somebody tweeted
I'm sure
it
you
at
can
me.
pull a clip. It's on social media. It's on social media. If you take it off off
They
social
are
media.
the most strict right now, though.
Yeah, but if you went on social
Just
media,
like on a Twitter.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Not
if
on
you
YouTube,
can
yeah.
find it on Instagram, probably.
Yeah.
Either way, it's if you. I don't know if it's going to be.
I mean, he goes down. Does he get knocked unconscious, or is that fake?
No, he needs stitches.
Oh.
For sure.
Oh,
but
Jesus.
can you see the actual?
Did you see it?
The
Yeah,
shot?
somebody tweeted it at me.
Just go on Twitter.
Just the
it's, on,
clip.
it's on Twitter.
It's
Just go on Twitter. You just if you type in Cody Rhodes, and it'll probably just pop up in general. But we'll see the chair shot was everywhere.
That guy looks like. Remember that dude that used to drink with us at St. Nick's?
That's the after.
Neil McDonough.
There you go. There.
I love Neil McDonough.
So that's the overall shot, and it's like, and you know, again, it was. They also said that it might have been they did something to the chair to make. But if you go back to the actual shot itself,
Does he
here
have
it is.
a mullet?
So it's like, yeah, and like I said, it's his company. Now, do I think they should keep doing this? No, they shouldn't.
Do you think they were intending on continuing to do this?
Oh, it's on BR Live. That's where they're getting their money.
Okay, I think they were intending. I think they were intending for people to talk about it like they are today.
But you don't think they were intending to have this be the new standard for their company?
No, I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to put other wrestlers in danger for doing this. I think that he knew that he was going to do this, get people talking about it. He's savvy, man. He's savvy. He's getting the word out there, and he knew he was going to catch flack from it.
So smart or not smart that they did this? If you have to pick one, Christian.
Smart.
Smart. Okay.
I do. I understand why they're getting shit for it, and they should. They should get shit for it. But I also think he knew it was going to be coming. I think he knew it, and I don't think that they should. I think that if they keep doing it and they put other wrestlers in risk for doing it, then I think it's dumb. But I think by doing it in your company, knowing people will talk about it, selling the shot, I think that it's probably the last time that they should do it. I don't think that, because you don't want to put, first of all, especially running the company, you don't want to put yourself in that. But
100%.
I think it's just you did one thing. The more and more people are talking about AEW. So.
But do you think there's a problem that Cody Rhodes or people like Cody Rhodes think that they're invincible, think that they're untouchable, think that it can't happen to them what's happened to other people where concussions lead to behavioral issues, so that this is a actual long-term problem that he would do something like this?
I don't think that he thinks he's invincible and indestructible, because if he and I say that after last night's thing or whenever Saturday. If he continued to do it and he kept doing it, then it's another conversation that we'd probably have to have in a couple of months from now. But I think for knowing that if he said, "Look, I'm going to take the shot, I'm going to take the hit. I know I'm going to take the hit physically. I'm going to take the hit on social media, but it's going to get people talking, and I'm going to take that for the company." And because there's no way that they're going to get the support from the community, because there are a lot of people who are pushing back and saying, "Hey, it's his company, let him do his thing." And I'm certainly not doing that. I'm saying I understand why he did it. I don't think he necessarily needed to do it. I think they're getting enough buzz right now in general that they didn't need to do this.
Is there any chance he didn't realize that he was going to get pushback from the community?
I don't know.
With that in place,
I mean,
right?
with stitches, he still had a head injury. I mean,
Yeah.
to draw blood from chair. I mean, he's still probably a minor concussion.
No. She's asking whether or not she
Pushback from the fans.
Yeah. She means that. I think
Like maybe he didn't think about it and was like, "Oh, we're just going to be if WWE has all these rules, now we're taking this and we're saying screw those rules."
we're going attitude era style.
It was like
Exactly.
those bats covered with the barbed wire back in the day.
I
and the
think-
Lucille's of the world.
I think that certainly had something to do with it, that they're willing to go to that route. But I also think that he knows this business very well. He knows what the atmosphere is like, the culture is like right now. And he's a smart guy, and he's been around this business for a very long time. I'm sure he knew it, and I'm sure he knew people were going to talk about it.
You think the conversation behind closed doors right now is, okay, that worked?
Yeah, I think part of it is that. I think there's probably a bigger conversation in general. Like, we've got to also make sure that we have the support of everybody too. So we did our thing. They're talking. They know that we're doing it. But again, the main thing is, if there was been someone else except him that did it, this would be a bigger thing.
Right.
Because you can't ask your other wrestlers to do this.
Do you
just
think
can't.
he should issue a statement saying that, apologizing, but saying it was me and my company?
No, I don't think I don't necessarily think he needs to, because it's his company, and it was him, and they did it, and he was the one that was hurt. No one else got hurt inside of this thing too, and it is a promotion of. They have been promoting the middle fingers and the bad language, and it is an adult-oriented thing. They are going more towards that attitude era thing that they've been promoting. But I just think this is a dangerous road to continue to go down. But if you're going for a marketing push, I think it worked. But I think that this is not something you continue to do. I think it just puts too many people at risk. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm curious what everybody else thinks. Do you think that this is something they should bring back? If the wrestlers are into it, then let them do it. But the problem with that,
F that.
that's the problem, because these guys, they're warriors, and they want to keep. And it's like, I'll take the shot, I'll take the headshot, and then you keep getting concussions, and you have these problems that you had back in the league.
But it's sort of like in hockey, right? As hockey fighting used to be way more prevalent. I mean, teams used to sacrifice roster spots for enforcers, okay? Rarely do teams do that anymore. I mean, your enforcer has to be really good at hockey now, if you do employ one, but they try and get rid of fighting as much as humanly possible. Is there still fighting in the game? Of course there is, but it's not as prevalent as it used to be, where it's just like, hey, tonight, guaranteed these two guys are going to fight.
You got to protect your athletes.
Correct.
You got to protect your
And those guys, same thing. They were killing themselves. They were getting major concussions.
Yeah.
They were depressed. It was a scene.
I'm not for it if it's everybody. I mean, I get it. For this one-time thing, the guy who owns the company did it. He got people talking, and I get it. It's not necessary, but I get it. Move on from it now. What do you think?
I think that he shouldn't have done it in general, because there's other ways to get buzz.
Agreed.
And we just don't know. We're still doing research, and as people are donating their brains, it's easier to figure out, but we still don't know. Is it one massive blow? Is it continual blows? Like, what is the thing that really changes who you are and causes you to either A, just be a slightly different person, or B, to the extreme.
Benoit, yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
I think that no risk is worth that. There's things in life you can't avoid, like massive car accidents,
Right.
but to put that on yourself just because it's your company, I think there's better ways to get publicity.
I don't think you're wrong. Yeah.
But again, if he doesn't continue to do it, it's better than what it could be.
Right. That's a good question too. How do they answer? Do they just not mention it at all? Just go on about what they were doing, because their last show. Because I think that this event in general. I mean, again, we should probably try to have Ryan in here today for this. But I saw a lot of the reviews and didn't look like this one went off as great as the other one did. And I say this as someone who didn't watch it. I'm just looking at the reviews that I had seen. I want to know what the overall kind of consensus was from those who watched it. Did you think it was good?
I keep hearing cheap.
This one was cheap.
I've heard that since the Throne. Cheap. I keep hearing cheap. It looks cheap.
Oh,
that's what I'm seeing online, at least.
That one. See, I liked that one. That one to me was. I thought that particular bit was cheap, but I thought the whole event was actually pretty awesome. It was very old school. But I don't know how this one went. I want to make sure they don't go over the top like they're trying to become ECW from back in the day in like '96 and just being extreme to get people talking, because that's how people get hurt.
Yeah, the ECW was.
It was crazy because it got everybody talking, and then but people were getting hurt, and that's why it was shock value, right? And they did have good matches and great characters, and that's when Paul Heyman was running the show.
I never watched the thing. I just remember seeing the commercials of just like dudes going
barbed
through tables with
craziness
barbed wire.
falling off. Yeah, and it was shock value, but it was also building out characters. But I think that what AEW will be able to do is what they promised as far as the overall bringing the sport element of it back and getting us good matches and good characters and trusting the wrestlers to cut their promos, and that's what they really sold it on. Stay away from like don't want to throw Mick Foley off the top of a cage to get people talking again, because that's also how people get really fucked up, and then you lose your company in general because you don't have the people. But I don't think that's where they're going. I think they're probably going to rely more on it. And I think this, to me, not rely enough on the extreme headshots and all that shit. Just go back to what you promised, and you got people talking.